Hello, everyone. Kim Granata Clark here from Ergonomics and You. I am your posture tutor, setting you up at your workstation to prevent and reduce injury. Have you thought about your standing posture today? In my last video, I talked about your sitting posture, but today it's about your standing posture. Standing and working on your computer gives you a break from sitting, but are you standing the correct way? Let's investigate. So, do you use a footrest when you are standing at your workstation and then hopefully you're switching feet? It's important when you're standing at your workstation to change your position. And by using a footrest, it changes your hip angle throughout the day. And especially if you switch legs, you could change that hip position on both sides. Otherwise, if you are not using a footrest, you're going to just stand, right? Well, there's other things you could do. You could stand more in an A position like this. You could stand with a crossed leg. You could stand on one leg. You could switch to the other leg. But the most important part is you need to change your position even when you are standing. You can't stand in a static position. A lot of people cannot stand in a static position. So the key is you want to move. You might stay in this position. You might move to this position. You might just stand and work. My best position that I like is standing more in an A position. You might have to lower your standing workstation elbow height because when you open up your legs into the A position, it lowers your elbow height a little bit. So you might need to move your standing workstation height if you are in this position. But then if you go back to a standing position, that's going to raise your elbow height. Maybe just a little bit. You'll have to investigate. But what position do you use when you are standing at your workstation?
There's something called an anterior tilt and a posterior tilt. When you're standing in meetings, when you are standing at your workstation, some of us might slouch. You lower yourself, and so now you're in a posterior tilt. Just by lifting straightening up your leg, it moves your body into an anterior tilt. And if you're in a posterior tilt, your shoulders are kind of rounded forward. As soon as you go back to the anterior tilt, your shoulders pull back and you're standing in a more upright position. Even if I was to spread my legs and go into that A position, it's a little bit hard to do the posterior tilt, but by pulling your butt underneath your hips, then you can keep in an anterior tilt. Just like my example in my sitting posture video, ballroom dancers most of the time have an anterior tilt. Like if you're doing a waltz, a foxtrot, a tango, a quintet, the smooth dances, you're in a anterior tilt. And sometimes it's a little bit more exaggerated when you're doing it. But you can't dance a waltz in a posterior tilt. Ideally, you want to pull up and you're in here. If you're dancing salsa, you're staying in this posture. You could do this, but that's going to put a lot of stress on our hips. So when you dance salsa, you're moving your hips and you're keeping your hips right in line. So remember, when you are standing in meetings, if you are standing at your workstation, you're standing in networking meetings, try to keep that anterior tilt. It's very easy to go into the posterior tilt where the hip goes out of position. Just straighten the leg and get yourself into an anterior tilt.
All right, to summarize all that information, how many times are you standing at your workstation? Do you have a sit to stand workstation at your office, in your corporate office, in your home office? If not, it might be a good investment to be able to stand throughout the day. Even if you stand for 10 to 15 minutes every hour, that's much less time sitting at your workstation, compressing your spine. When you stand, the spine opens up and straightens up. When you are standing in meetings, in networking meetings, standing and talking to family, make sure you work on your posture, standing straight, keeping those shoulders back, anterior tilt versus a posterior tilt. If you have any questions regarding adjustable workstations, your standing posture, I provide ergonomic evaluations. I also provide office ergonomic presentations in your corporate office. My details, such as my email and my website, will be in the description. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.